have you ever had a potential customer that comes to you and says, that's the bike I want, man, because it looks so pretty or something like that? You tell the customer, look, I'm not going to sell you that bike because it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, have you ever run into that kind of situation?
Multiple times. He was an older guy, a really older guy who I don't think was thinking clearly. And I tried to tell him multiple times, like, I don't think this is a good idea for you, but it's what he wanted. And who am I to tell him, no, I'm not going to. But I did give him like my opinion and be like, hey, like, I don't think this is a good idea for you. He ended up selling us the bike back.
Welcome to Riding Counsel with Rich Jaffe, where the open road meets expert advice. I'm Richard Jaffe, an attorney and biking enthusiast, and this is the podcast where we dive into the world of motorcycling, safety, culture, charitable giving, and riding right. So, whether you're a seasoned rider or just getting started, let's talk bikes, the road, and everything in between. Let's ride. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, my name's Tyler. I currently am at Harley Davidson in Nassau County, salesman there.
Oh, great. So that's where you work?
Yeah, I started there in November.
Are you originally from Long Island?
No. Actually, originally from New Hampshire, but when I was 22, I decided there wasn't a whole lot going on for me out there, so I took a one-way trip to New York City. And then, but for the last several years, I've been working with Harley Davidson.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you got to New York City, and man, coming from out of state, number one, but also sort of what has a reputation as a remote state. I mean, landing in the city, that must have been like a big shock for you.
Yeah, it was pretty different, but that's one of the reasons why I came. There wasn't a whole lot going on for me in New Hampshire.
Yeah. So you work at Harley Davidson,
yeah,
and you're a salesman there, right?
Yeah.
So have you always been into motorcycles?
Yeah, so I always wanted to get into motorcycles, like ever since I was a kid. New Hampshire is a big state for motorcycles. I mean, you've probably heard of Laconia Bike Week, the oldest motorcycle rally in the country.
Yeah.
So, and I was born on a town just on the other side of the lake of Laconia. So every single year, I saw thousands and thousands and thousands of bikers pouring into the state. And I always wanted to get into it as a kid. But it actually wasn't until the pandemic, because I was out of work, because of the pandemic, and I needed to make some money. So I picked up a Vespa to do Uber Eats with. As the pandemic was kind of winding down, I was like, all right, well, I really like riding around on two wheels in the city. So let me get rid of this Vespa, get a motorcycle, and just discovered a passion ever since then. I left a job I was at for 9 years to go work at Harley Davidson. And in October, unfortunately, New York City Harley closed. So in November, I went to Nassau County Harley Davidson. Wow,
so that's pretty amazing. So you're talking about a Vespa, and I mean, I know what a Vespa is, right? Yeah. I ride bikes. If you haven't guessed from it by my garb, by my attire, and obviously you ride bikes, but a Vespa to a Harley. I mean, that seems like a really big jump. So for anybody who doesn't know what a Vespa is, tell people what a Vespa is.
So it's I call it a scooter, or I thought it was like a moped. I don't really know the difference, to be honest, but it was a 250 cc. It was really fun to ride, honestly. They're great for New York City. If you live in Manhattan, it's a super small way to get around that, is, in my opinion, a lot better than public transportation, and it's fun to ride. But I had moved out of Manhattan into Queens and was like, all right, I've always wanted a motorcycle. So the first bike I got was a 750 Honda Magna. And the thing looked beautiful too. I went and met this guy at his house in Long Island. He had it in his garage, kept it on a carpet. The thing looked like it was showroom. It was a 20-year-old bike, but it looked like it was brand new off the showroom floor. I didn't realize it looked so good because he never rode the thing. And that being my first bike, I was like, oh, that's good. Until 3 months down the road, the motor seized up because all the buildup that was in the motor from it not being used.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So then after that, I got a Harley.
All right. I just have this vision of riding around in a Vespa, like, like you're in Italy or something like that, just zipping around like these little streets, and then you're going to a Harley Davidson. So now you have a Harley.
Yeah.
What kind of Harley you have now? This episode has been brought to you by Riding Counsel. Don't forget to visit us at ridingcounsel.com.
So I have a 97 Sportster Sport and a 23 Road Glide ST.
Wow, that's great. The Road Glide ST, that's quite a bike. So
Yeah. And so you might have heard of, you ever heard of that company like V-Twin Visionary?
Sure.
So he basically built this bike. I believe he's the owner, Jeff Holt. He built this bike.
Right.
Guy here in Queens won the bike.
Wow.
Didn't want it.
And he didn't want it.
Yeah. So I bought it off him.
Wow.
And it's a crazy build. It's probably, I think when they delivered the bike to him, they said the bike plus the parts and labor that were on it was like $80,000.
Oh my God. And this is for a motorcycle, right? I mean, you think like of an expensive car, but this is $80,000. Oh my God.
Well, I called the guy who did the carbon fiber work. The whole body's carbon fiber. He said it's about $7,000 just in carbon fiber on the bike.
Huh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So, you're working at Harley Davidson now. You work as a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess people have certain stereotypes that they think of, right? They're ready to go into a Harley Davidson to go buy a bike, or maybe they don't even go in because of some sort of stereotype. What kind of stereotypes do you think salesmen like yourself have when somebody thinks like, okay, I'm going to go buy a Harley? Like,
so that's definitely something of experience, like with people buying, maybe it's their first bike, or they wanted to get a Harley, but they were kind of intimidated by the Harley Davidson, like the look and like the experience that they think they might get walking into a Harley Davidson dealership. But anybody who rides a Harley knows that they're the friendliest people on earth. If anybody who rides a Harley sees anybody on any motorcycle on the side of the road in need of assistance, you know that a guy who rides a Harley is going to be probably the first to pull over to see what they can do to help them. Harley riders are the friendliest people on earth, in my opinion. They really are.
Right. So somebody is ready to buy a motorcycle, and they give you a call. What do you tell them? I mean, they say, I want to buy a bike. Especially, I mean, let's face it, okay? There's all kinds of people who want a motorcycle. There's people with experience with motorcycles, not experience with motorcycles. How do you address these people? What do you tell them?
So most of the time, if it's like their first time coming into a Harley Davidson dealership, I like to sit them on multiple bikes. I kind of find out what they're looking to do on their Harley. Are they looking to go long distance? Are they looking to go local? Are they just looking for a bike to go around town from A to B? Maybe it's just to go to work, or maybe on the weekends they have friends that ride who go on long trips or short trips. So it really depends on what they're looking to do with it, because Harley does have a wide variety of different kinds of bikes. But also a really cool thing that I'm experiencing now, working at Nassau Harley Davidson, they also sell Triumph and Royal Enfield, which is very new to me. I'm learning a lot about, Triumph and Royal Enfield, which is cool because I'm discovering that I am finding things that I think are cool that I didn't know existed before. But, that's what I try to do. I try to sit people on different kinds of bikes, explain to them what, they might not know. They might put their legs on some forward controls and be like, this is more comfortable. It's like, well, all right, what kind of riding are you looking to do with it? Are you looking to go to the mountains and do like twists and turns? You might want something with some mid controls so you have more control over the bike. The forward controls, sure, having your legs out, stretched out in front of you can be comfortable, but if you're looking to get in the twists and turns and you want to be able to lean into corners, there's a reason why sport bikes don't have their feet in front of them.
Yeah, I really think you're bringing up at a good point that there's all kinds of bikes and there's all kinds of riders. You can't just go in there and say, you know what, I want a motorcycle, I want the biggest engine, I want to go as fast as possible. I mean, it's not realistic, and to me, it's a safety factor. I don't know how you as a salesman approach it.
So a lot of people are often intimidated by the size of the motor. They're like, 117 is the new standard now. Like every Softail in 2025 that came out has a 117. That's 1,920 cc's. That sounds like a ton, which it is a lot. It's a lot of power. But you're in control of the speed of it. You know, almost every car will go just as fast as a motorcycle. It doesn't mean you put the pedal to the metal every time you get behind the wheel. And the same thing with a bike. Now, Harleys are heavy. Not all of them. You know, the Nightster that came out a few years ago is coming in under 500 pounds. You know, so it's lightweight, but it's a quick bike. Yeah. You know, you got to be in control of it. So
I mean, I know when I bought, I've bought a few Harleys in my life, but I know one of the first times I'm thinking, you know, whoever I run into, first of all, I don't know any salesman, right? So I'm walking in and I don't know any salesman, right? So someone's going to approach me and they're going to want to sell me the most expensive bike. And I'm concerned because I need somebody on the salesman side to make sure that I'm buying the right bike. And I'm thinking that a salesman really has that kind of responsibility, that they have to sell the right bike to the right person, not just any bike or a bike to somebody who walks in.
Yeah. So, and that's a common thing that I think most people think, but at the couple dealerships that I've worked at, it doesn't matter which bike you're buying. The salesman gets paid a flat rate per unit. Doesn't matter how expensive it is. So it doesn't matter if you're buying the most expensive bike or the cheapest bike. They're getting paid the same flat rate just for moving a unit, not necessarily a particular one. You know, so a good salesman isn't just going to try to sell you a bike. They want to sell you the right bike because they want to earn your business, and also they want you to refer your friends to them. They want you to have a good experience. And I can't speak for other companies, but I know Harley Davidson is a community. You know, they really want to build a community, and buying a Harley should be a really, really, really good experience. And for me, like I said, I discovered a passion and then went to go work at Harley. So I am the client. You know, I went into a Harley dealership to buy a Harley before I even worked at a Harley. So I tried myself to give people the experience that I would want. You know, I want somebody to explain to me all the different options and the features and the advantages and the benefits of the different models, so I can make a good decision on the next bike that I'm buying.
You know, I think you bring up a really good point where, you know, there's a lot of bikes out there. I mean, of course, new bikes, I don't know where you get a new bike besides a dealer, unless somebody steals some and some fall off a truck somehow. But we're in the New York City metro area, so crazy things have happened. But those are for new bikes. They come see you. But I'd like to talk a little bit about buying a used bike, because you can go on Facebook or you can go on all these other websites, Cycle Trader and a bunch of other ones, to go buy a used bike. But I think what you're really getting at is that there's value in going to a dealership and finding a salesman, and not just any salesman, a salesman like yourself, to take you through the buying process of even a used bike, because a used bike might not be the safest bike for you. So when you go to a salesman, there's value in going to a salesman like yourself at a dealer, even if you're buying a used bike. I mean, you don't just sell new bikes, do you?
No, it's still used, but it's also, it goes back to like I was saying, like getting the knowledge of what you're looking for. You know, because you might not even know like the difference on how a bike rides based on the size of the tire. You know, a lot of guys, they come in and they're like, you know, they want a fat boy because they love the way it looks. And I'm like, okay, what kind of riding are you looking to do with your group of friends? Well, we like to go up into the mountains on the weekends. I'm like, well, I do want to let you know that having a really fat rear tire is not going to be the best bike for going to the mountains, you know? So it is beneficial to go into a dealership and speak to a salesperson who is knowledgeable about, you know, assisting you. But also, you can buy anything on Facebook Marketplace and you don't really know the longevity of its lifetime. So you kind of have to, if you're going to make that choice to go through Facebook, just know that it's probably not going to be perfect. My first, you know, the Honda Magna that I bought is my first bike. Like I said, I went to this guy's garage and it was beautiful. I didn't even test ride it because I didn't know how to ride a motorcycle at the time. I knew how to ride the Vespa. as he was on his way to deliver the bike to me, I'm watching a YouTube video on how to, like, use the clutch and everything. And luckily, I knew how to drive a 5-speed car. So the first time I hopped on the bike, I was fine, But it is a risky thing buying something used, but you do get you feel safer buying it at a dealership because the dealership went through that bike and they're going to say, okay, hey, it's good. When you buy a bike on Facebook, once you take it, anything goes wrong with it, that's on you,
Right,
so
right.
Who knows what could happen.
Right. So when, let me ask you this. Have you ever had a potential customer that comes to you and says, that's the bike I want, man, because it looks so pretty or something like that? That's the one. And you tell the customer, look, I'm not going to sell you that bike because it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, have you ever run into that kind of situation?
Yeah. So I have, to give you kind of a story of a gentleman that I dealt with at New York City Harley. And I don't want to get too much into it, but, I multiple times, he was an older guy, a really older guy who I don't think was thinking clearly. And I tried to tell him multiple times, like, I don't think this is a good idea for you. I don't think that this is what you should be, but it's what he wanted. And who am I to tell him, no, I'm not going to. But I did give him, like, my opinion and be like, hey, like, I don't think this is a good idea for you, and he ended up selling us the bike back. It wasn't the right idea for him.
Yeah. So he didn't take your advice, but, I think it's important, anybody who is in the market for a new or used bike, to find a salesman that is trustworthy. And look, I'm a lawyer, and there's lots of lawyers I could say that are not trustworthy. I could say it because I'm a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Tell me about salesmen in general. I mean, are there all kinds, or do you have to operate within certain parameters?
So there are all kinds.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I first went to go work at New York City Harley was because at this point now I bought a Harley and I wanted to start going to the events. New York City Harley did events almost every single week. And the last day of every month, they did an event. And I don't remember, I think it was the last day of a month event I went to. And I saw a salesperson assisting somebody in the process of them getting, I don't know if it was their first bike or just their next bike or their first Harley or whatever it was. And I felt like that salesperson wasn't really helping them. Was like, no, you don't want that bike. This is the bike that you should get. And I was like, but you're not listening to what the guy wants. Like, I wish I was helping this person discover the passion that I discovered for this brand. And that's when it kind of like sparked that in me. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to help people discover the passion for this brand that I discovered. And I want to genuinely help people, get a Harley, whether it's their first Harley or their 100th Harley. I just want to help people get one. And that's why I don't really consider myself a salesman. I think that my boss just compensates me for helping people get a bike, because that's what I really feel like I'm doing. I'm just helping them pick out their next bike.
So you're a source of knowledge. I mean, yeah, we're going to call you a salesman, but if we called you a source of knowledge for people who are in the market for a motorcycle, I mean, that would be true, mm-hmm. right? If we called you a guide to buy a motorcycle, that would be true also, right?
Yeah,
and
so New York City Harley actually had the title for, they didn't use salesman, they used fit specialist, because your job was to fit them to the right bike. The fit specialist didn't talk about pricing with them. That was upper management. They discussed price and did the negotiating. My job at New York City Harley was to fit people to the correct motorcycle.
So it sounds like you really, right. So you're a fit specialist. I mean, maybe that's a better title, and I don't know if they call that at Nassau Harley, but
no, sales associate at Nassau.
A sales associate, okay,
yeah.
A sales associate. But we've been discussing how important it is to pick the right sales associate, and somebody who has the same values as you, mm-hmm. somebody who can really see you as a person, a consumer of these motorcycles, and somebody who's looking for the long term, right? So you as a salesman are looking for long term. And of course, safety is a factor, just like we were talking before. There's so many factors that come into play when you're buying a bike: the size of the tires, the size of the engine, the weight, how it rides, all these different kinds of things. So, how does somebody go about finding a salesman? I mean, thank God we have you here, so anybody can call you or email you, and we're going to get your contact information. But how does somebody go about finding the right salesman?
So that's tough, because, when you walk into a dealership, it's the first person that is going to come up and greet you. You don't necessarily know what they're like, So if you have a friend that rides, I recommend ask them, who have you dealt with at this dealership before? Would you recommend me to speak to them? Because that is really tough. If you've never been into a dealership before and you don't know anybody, like when I first started riding, I didn't have any friends that rode. I didn't know anybody that worked at a dealership or know anybody that knew anybody that worked at a dealership. So that is really tough, but I do recommend, kind of maybe start off kind of cold when you first go into a dealership and ask the person that's helping you some questions like, what do you ride? Because nothing against anybody who doesn't ride, but when I think of myself as buying a bike, I want to buy a bike from a guy who knows how to ride a bike. And I have seen salespeople before who don't care about riding a bike. They took the job because it was a job, and nothing against them for doing that, but that's not what I would want. I would want to buy a product from somebody who actually cares about the product, not somebody who just took the job because it's a job.
So just are you restricted from selling a bike or even helping somebody who is in a certain geographic area? I mean, if somebody calls you from Kentucky or Texas, are you allowed to take that call?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can certainly help figure out a way to get them the bike, whether it's helping figure out how we can get them here. One of the things we did when we were at New York City Harley is, we'll pay for your flight and hotel. You want to come buy a bike from New York? What a better souvenir than a Harley Davidson. We'll pay for your flight and hotel. You can come on out. And here at Nassau, they've told me, like, hey, if we need to help figure out transportation, we'll figure out transportation. So there's definitely, it doesn't matter where somebody is. If we can help, we will.
So I'm really hoping that the people who are listening and watching this podcast really have a sense of who you are and how you operate. But if they want to get in contact with you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Just call Nassau County Harley Davidson, or I have my personal Instagram, which is NY Concrete Pirate, no space. I also have a secondary Instagram, which I would like to use more, which is Stock Bike Suck, because I love custom stuff. I love doing everything custom. I love changing everything on a bike. But yeah, Nassau County Harley Davidson you can call there, ask to speak to me, and I'll be more than happy to assist in any way I can. Okay, and I'll be sure to put the number in the comment section below this video where it appears. I also want to let people know that the way I got to know you was I walked into the Harley dealer and I was looking around and we ended up meeting, and I think I was talking with you for like 2 or 3 hours about motorcycles, just like absolutely, nothing to do with the sale of a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the kind of person you are. I'm a real big fan of the dealership, but mostly because of the people who work there. And it was an easy conversation. It was interesting for me.
And certainly it interested you. I learned a lot. So if people even want to call you just to BS about motorcycles, I'm sure they could do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as I have the time, of course. Right now it's the slow season, so this is the time where I can take, a couple hours to shoot the shit with somebody about just about anything, But of course, when it does get to that peak riding season, my time will probably be less every day, because I do still have to sell bikes. But anybody is more than welcome to reach out. I tell people I speak to all the time. I give them, if I speak to a guy in the dealership and I trust that I can give him my cell phone number, I give 99% of people my cell phone number because, hey, if you ever have any questions, a guy came in a couple days ago and he wanted to get a Dyna. It's going to be his first bike, and he wants to build like a stunted out Dyna like the East Coasting guys. And I was like, well, we probably don't have the right bike for that. But if you have any questions and you want my opinion on something, here's my number. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll give you my input on it.
That's amazing. That's great. That's great. I couldn't help but notice that you're wearing some rings today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to just hold it up to see a little bit. So tell me about rings. I mean, I think a lot of bikers are known for motorcycle rings.
Yeah.
Do these hold any significance or?
Well, I got this one in New Hampshire. This is like a eagle. And on the side, it's got like some mountains and some trees and looks like probably like a lake. And for me, it kind of reminds me a lot of home. And, riding a motorcycle is probably the closest you could ever have to flying. So I really like, I like that one. This one I just think is cool.
What's that one?
It's just a skull with wings.
Oh, yeah.
I just think it kind of looks cool.
Yeah.
And then I have this little one here, which is just a cowgirl holding a pistol, which once again I just think is cool.
Yeah. So you see a lot of bikers wearing rings.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of misconceptions, let's say, as to why they're wearing those rings, but I think you dispelled a lot of them because they have meaning to you, as opposed to something a little more sinister.
Yeah, I think most of the time anybody buys any piece of jewelry, they're just like, it looks cool.
So when somebody's buying a bike and they come in to you, do you find that it's a certain kind of person buying a bike? Meaning, okay, a lot of young kids, they're always buying bikes, or a lot of old people are buying bikes, or a lot of construction guys, they're always buying bikes. Is there a typical bike buyer?
No, honestly, I've seen every kind of person buy a bike. It could be anybody. Now, typically when you're buying a Harley, you do kind of have to have your shit together. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can swear or not, but it's an expensive motorcycle. It is a luxury motorcycle. It is a premium motorcycle. And it's a lot to upkeep. The service on them can be hundreds of dollars, so even though it's a want, not a need, it's a toy. It's a big toy. It's a fun toy. It's a dangerous toy. It's expensive. So be ready for that. So it can be a lot to own a Harley Davidson opposed to some other brands, where, there's some bikes out there that you could buy it brand new and it could cost just as much as a part to put on your Harley. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So every kind of person I've seen buy a bike, but you do want to make sure that you can afford it when you're buying it, because it's expensive.
So give me some tips with, let's say somebody's going in and they want to buy a Harley from you, or any salesman, but preferably you, because obviously you have the knowledge and you really are an enthusiast, not only of Harley motorcycles, but of getting somebody who's buying a bike, the right bike, the safe bike.
So I recommend, first case is the silhouette. If you're buying a Harley, I like to look at a Harley like a blank canvas when I'm buying it. What am I looking to do with it? What do I, because Harleys especially are so customizable. You can change anything. Every single nut and bolt on a Harley Davidson, you can change. So if you are looking at the bike and you're like, well, I don't like this or I don't like that, it can be changed. If you're looking at a bike and you want forward controls, but the bike has mid controls, no problem. Harley makes a kit where you can change that from mids to forwards. If you don't like the seat, you can change the seat. If you don't like the grips, you can change the grips. If you don't like the height of the bars, you can change the bars. So I kind of look at a bike before I buy it like a blank canvas. And I'm like, all right, what am I going to change to make it fit what I want out of it? So that's kind of what I recommend, is for people to do their research and go, oh, because anytime you really see a bike that you're like, that's really, really cool, 90% of the time it's probably not stock. So that's kind of what I recommend.
They customize it. They put different parts on to make it really their bike.
Yeah. Probably almost everybody you know probably doesn't have a stock Harley Davidson.
So when somebody comes in, or they call you or they approach you, tell us what not to do as a consumer or somebody who wants to buy a motorcycle. What would really piss you off when they come into the store?
The only thing that, like, I'm trying to think really, because like I'm extremely happy-go-lucky kind of person. So it really takes a lot to really make me upset. The only thing for me is like, just don't be rude, be open-minded. If you're asking questions, listen,
Right.
So, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you get your next bike, whether it's your first bike or your 100th bike. I'm just here to help you. I'm going to give you my input. And that doesn't mean that I know more than some of these guys. Most people have been riding a lot longer than me. Most of the clients that I come in contact with know a lot more than I do about riding. They've ridden a lot longer than me. But I know the product that's in the showroom because that's my job. I can tell you the pros and cons, the features and the advantages and benefits to the product that's in the showroom. So if you're going to ask me a question, I'm going to do my best to answer it. So just don't be rude.
Yeah, I think that's a really good rule. I mean, even in life, why be rude to a sales associate if you're going in and asking for help, for knowledge? I mean, I think there's such a misconception that, they just want to make the sale. They're just out for money. And, I really don't think that's true.
No. And of course, yes, we do want to make sales. That's our job. It's how we get paid. But that's not all. Like you said, we spoke for hours and I didn't try to sell you anything, because I just have a passion for being there. If you decide you want to buy a bike, hopefully you come to me. But if you don't, I completely understand. I might not have what you're looking for. But it's also my job to inform people about what we do have. And if we don't have exactly what you're looking for, maybe I can tell you, hey, we can change this, we can change that. We sell these parts. We can help you get exactly what you're looking for, so you don't have to travel hours away to get it. But I think the only time I've been annoyed by a customer is if they're just like have this, which I can understand, they might just have a wall up against salespeople. If you're going to buy a car, and I'm not saying all car people are like this, I have no idea. I've never bought a brand new car before, so I don't know honestly what the experience has been like. But I think a lot of people have this. They judge salespeople as like you were saying, they just want to make a sale, they just want to make the money. And that's not the case. I think when you're buying a motorcycle, it's a want, it's not a need, and it's a fun experience. This is something that I think most people who sell motorcycles are doing it because they love riding motorcycles. Where guys that are selling cars, if you're going to buy just a car that you need to get to point A to point B, you're probably not experiencing a salesperson who has a passion for that brand. Maybe I'm wrong. It might be a little bit different if you're talking to a guy who, if you're going to buy a brand new Porsche, that guy might actually have some passion about Porsche. He actually might really care about that. Or maybe it's a Mercedes if you're looking at a high end. And I think motorcycles are kind of that thing as well, where most of the time you're interacting with people who actually have a passion, So don't have that wall up. Don't be guarded about talking to them, because they don't just want to sell you something. I think in most cases, we're just there to have a good time and help people get bikes.
Well, that's really great. So I'm really happy that you came by and took the time to speak to us. And hopefully the audience really got to know you. And we're going to put all your contact information in case they got to get in contact with you.
I appreciate that.
If somebody's out there and either they don't know a salesman or they're looking for somebody who is a sales associate because they don't like their current one, they really should call you. And I really respect your values and how you approach this, and you're really doing the right thing. And it's a nice thing to see, not only for Harley and for your dealership, but for bikers. It's really great. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Riding Counsel with Richard Jaffe. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the ride, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your fellow riders. Until next time, keep the rubber side down and ride safe.